So who's gonna say why we're here?
I just want to introduce us,
Okay.
okay?
And we got these guys to show
I want to know what you're doing here,
Well, where
man.
the hell you been? We already shot great stuff.
I shot better stuff.
These are three Chicago filmmakers who are here after many years of being away to witness the NATO events this week. We have been joined by our careers through helping each other, mentorships, and learning from each other, trying to make films with some kind of content, some kind of social conscience. So Michael Gray has asked us to sit down and talk about why we're here and what we're doing.
When I talked to Mike about being here, we didn't really talk a lot about what you might call politics. If it's possible to feel patriotic about your city, or maybe patriotic about your homeland, that's the vibes I got from you. I've learned here, and I was here a few days longer, that we live in a city I love, a city under siege.
Chicago, Chicago, that's toddling town, Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you around. I love it, bet your bottom dollar you lose the blues in Chicago, Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday could not shut down.
The most amazing thing to me, Haskell, and I think we've got plenty of footage to illustrate that point, was the overwhelming police presence, which the mayor ordered in order to make sure his city was not disturbed, or but it was mind-boggling. I mean, row after row after row of cops. Look down the alley as we were marching, you see this parade of cops in full battle gear on bicycles racing ahead of us.
And the cops spent millions and millions and millions of dollars, the city spent millions of dollars, trying to show how tough they could be, how they were going to stop any kind of people stepping out of the line, taking away civil rights, changing the laws, getting court orders telling them they couldn't do what they were going to do.
Attention, attention. This is the Chicago Police Department. You are engaging in unlawful conduct. You are hereby ordered to immediately disperse. You must leave the immediate vicinity now.
I think this is going to be more and more of an issue at conventions, at all kinds of public events. This kind of police crackdown is going to be there because they really don't want people to, en masse, voice themselves.
With thousands of protesters roaming the streets of downtown, police do have a tough job. So are they doing a good job of containing the protesters?
And also, cameras ever present.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing about cameras, is it depends whose camera, what they're shooting at, and when it's shown, how they interpret it.
Yeah.
In and around the loop, there are increasing signs of heightened security.
Sources say an informant told officers that he may have had something illegal in his backpack.
Day number one, peaceful protest, so I think it's a good sign, but there's still several more days to go.
For the second time in as many days, Chicago police arrested demonstrators downtown.
On the Michigan Avenue Bridge, trouble.
The coining of this whole thing was It's going to be violent. It's going to be crazy. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed. There's going to be terrible confrontations.
Protesters, hundreds of protesters.
Protest, Afghanistan. Yeah.
We get one interpretation on the media. All the Chicago media and everything else is focusing on the action scene. Never once was there any discussion of what the hell it was all about.
There are, of course, the larger issues of Afghanistan, a missile shield against Iran, and the future of NATO itself. But ask anyone, from the mayor on down, Bill and Walter, and this weekend really is all about us.
Thanks, Jay.
Can you tell me what this, I heard that there's a press conference. Can you tell me what it's all about?
You asked the wrong person.
Really? Well, what kind of person are you?
The person only does what he's told.
People who come to Chicago should know that this march is legal, permanent, and family friendly.
But what about the troublemakers, this black bloc group and people who are here to incite violence?
There are some people that say that troublemakers will be meeting over here as part of NATO.
All right. Andy, do you have a response to that too? This black bloc group, these people who are known for coming and inciting violence, your message to them? I don't hear you guys discouraging that.
I think any discussion of violence that focuses on what's happening here in Chicago so totally misses the point. I'd like you guys to start putting out statistics such as that a record number of Afghans lost their lives in America's war, and that the longest ever war last year.
In the shadow of McCormick Place, organizers downplayed concerns that a small group of fringe protesters could incite violence as they have at other summits.
There are some people that say that troublemakers will be meeting over here as part of NATO.
Along with beefed up Chicago police staffing, officers from other cities, including Milwaukee and Charlotte, will be here helping out.
Why are people coming from sometimes around the country, not just here? Because something's not working. The system's not working for them.
Exactly. I mean, the Occupy movement has them quaking in their boots because they're out of control. They have no leaders as such, and they instigate, these Occupy movements, which bring out the incredible inequality between the 1% and the 99%. And the thing that knocked me out was the nurses.
What are we doing, Tony?
We're talking to the nurses. The Nurses Campaign to Heal America. They're part of the 99%. There are those in the media who would have us believe that the 99% are fringe dwellers and outsiders. And what we find out is that the 99% are our sisters, our aunts, our nurses, our teachers, our construction workers. In short, they are us. There is no them.
A lot of people ask why nurses, and the question should be why not nurses, because they're the ones who see the most human suffering and the fallout from the economy.
They don't have the resources to, and in a lot of cases people are dying routinely as we're speaking right now, simply because the guy in question, the patient, didn't happen to have the right kind of insurance, and by the time they got it straightened out and figured out how they were going to get paid, the guy was dead. And for people like nurses, and the other group, of course, the veterans.
NATO has got to go! NATO has got to go! N-A-T-O! N-A-T-O! NATO has got to go! NATO has got to go!
And who stepped up and threw away their medals. One guy, I remember, a great shot, and he was talking about the guy, that one of his buddies that had been killed in front of him or whatever, and you see him tell why he's giving this medal back, and he goes and throws it like a grenade over the cops and into the street.
I was very impressed with the diversity of people and the diversity of issues, which all relates to the same thing, which is militarism and the lack of money for human kind of things.
They're able to pay for this war machine all around the world by cutting back on every social program right here and keeping people more and more divided.
At this important gathering, those domestic issues of the fact that people have student debt, people have no homes, people are being foreclosed, it is being linked to one of the core issues, which is militarism, which is the obscene spending on war.
The wars that we're spending money on are basically energy wars. And they're wars of commodities, of controlling commodities, whether it be oil or copper, uranium, or whatever it is that you need for your cell phone. But there were groups there who had been affected by this from the Philippines, from Afghanistan, from teachers, from veterans, from all kinds of walks of life, people who had the same issues and same problems, all related to this inequality and this lack of having a point of view about what the society should really be. And that was inspiring. It was very inspiring. And there were 10 or 15,000 people there, and we hope they represent a lot more people. They do.
I think the importance of this thing seems to me to be to focus attention on how the 1% has taken away all the money on the table, you know, and don't want to pay any taxes. They don't want to pay for the roads. You want a road, build it yourself.
The perspective is always distorted. The perspective is always out of whack. When you think about the leaders who are revered, who show up on talk shows, who show up on boards of directors of big corporations, and you think about the violence and the blood and the decisions they've made over their careers, they get prizes, they get honorariums, they get doctorates. And nobody really questions how those decisions and motivations have affected the lives of millions and millions of people. And that's a tragedy, because they don't look deeply into the kind of decisions that are made.
Chaos, violence, unrest, and it just was henny penny, the sky is falling, I've never seen anything like it.
And they always say, well, if you only knew what we knew, if you were in our position in the White House, in the National Security Council, you'd understand why we have to do these things. You Americans are naive, the world's a dark, mean place. And now we realize that the media, which we are a part of, is perpetuating images and perpetuating lies and stories that we have to somehow counter and put out to the world without the resources of the big corporations, without the resources of the Time Warners, the Disneys, the Foxes.
Hoping for the best and bracing for the worst.
And it's like the city streets in Chicago, downtown, were empty.
Well, they scared everybody away. They started talking about evacuation plans and anarchist threats.
ANUSEC was released this morning along with 4 others reportedly suspected of preparing Molotov cocktails.
The suspect's lawyers, who released photos purporting to show beer brewing, not bomb-making equipment, say the charges are all trumped up.
That the recent thing about some bombs.
That the beer-making
yeah, but the beer-making aspect didn't get through to my niece, you know? She looked and she said, oh, are you okay? Because there are bombs out there.
Even when it's a photo of beer-making equipment and the headline is about bombs and the lead paragraph is about Molotov cocktails, nobody will grasp, like 10% of people will grasp that it's beer-making equipment.
So that's the latest from here. All right, dramatic developments. Chuck, thanks very much.
We have to be able to take this new thing called the internet and be able to try to put images out and try to get people to talk about alternative ways of living.
Since our media won't cover this issue, it's up to us to cover this issue.
We want the whole world to be watching. You know, even in the gathering that came around some of us and so forth, we got to know incredible people here in Chicago, and they'll be here when we go back to California, and so the momentum is there, and of course the movement is not Chicago, it's not U.S., it's worldwide. There are a lot of good people who know the system's not working, and they know what Occupy stands for on the basis of war, jobs, health,
theft.
Yeah, I agree, but we've got to let them know that there's a power, and that's our job as communicators.